everyone, welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. Hey, look, it's Captain Logan and DJ Martinez. Welcome, everybody. How you doing, DJ? I can't hear you. I still can't hear you. What is going on?
My mic is rebelling.
There you go. That's a couple weeks in a row, man. You might have to have a conversation with that microphone.
I got I got to get more aggressive with the button. I got to push it hard.
Sure. Blame the button.
I have it pointed this way at me, so I can't see the button. So I'm just going off feel, and apparently, my feeler.
See, you have yours flipped differently than me. I press it underneath, so like mine's like this. That's that way. I guess you could do it either way, because it.
Yeah, I just got to.
Now I'm gonna sound all warped and weird because I'm going back and forth with my microphone.
Oh, we're gonna get an ASMR Logan tonight. We'll tease.
DJ, you just need to have a conversation with your microphone.
That's more like phone booth serial killer Logan.
Yeah, it really is. Sure. Yeah, or crappy Barry White impression. Anyway, welcome everybody. Thanks a bunch for being here on the Captain Logan Show. It's a Tuesday. It's one of our crazy off Tuesday shows. It's like off Broadway, except nothing like that. And this evening, as often ends up happening with a Tuesday show, we have a bunch of news to talk about. Usually, our main Captain Logan show, where we have usually a bigger show, bigger audience, is on Thursdays, and that's usually a day where nothing important happens. But Tuesday is when a bunch of news will drop. So it'll be like, oh, we're gonna do Marvel Mania, but there's like 1,000 things to talk about. I guess we'll put it off till Thursday. So today we actually get to talk about some things that just recently we found out about, and tonight's lead-in topic, as you might have noticed from the title, is going to be the Save Daredevil campaign. We're going to talk about whether or not Disney bringing back Netflix Daredevil, that continuity, those characters, would be a good idea, what the likelihood is of that campaign even working. If you're not familiar with this started, and of course there was a campaign before. I mean, I'm sure I had heard about this. I mean, this happens with nearly every show, but like there was a big contingency of people with Daredevil right after it was announced that that whole franchise was ending, that we're trying to get Netflix to bring it back, and now that has kind of resurfaced because Disney has gotten the rights back to that character. So we'll talk about what we think the likelihood of that is and whether we'd like to see that, and the ins and outs of that. We're going to talk about a couple of other things too. We'll talk about the Doc Ock thing. We'll talk about Christopher Nolan and his comments about HBO Max and Warner's plans for next year. If you want to ask us a question about those things or anything else happening in pop culture, and it does not have to be recent stuff. We can talk about anything you want to, going all the way back, sci-fi, comics, whatever you want to talk about. You can leave a super chat in any dollar amount, and that will guarantee that we talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. And you can leave pre-written comments outside of super chats as well, and we'll try to knock out a few of those too, if at all humanly possible. We are about 90% funded these days by the audience, and we sure appreciate the support. But we also really appreciate you just popping in and listening to my ramblings. And DJ, thanks for helping me keep it together like you always do, buddy. DJ's looking real festive on what I guess we're deeming hashtag Save Daredevil Day.
Save Daredevil Day / Spider-Man News Day.
Yeah, sure. I'm
just like a billboard for the Captain Logan Show.
Yeah, all you need now is something that says Captain Logan on it.
Well, I don't want to step on your territory, man. That's your thing. Your name is your thing, and I don't want to overstep my moderator boundaries.
We could get t-shirts made though.
We could. It'd be a snazzy shirt.
It'd be cool. Sure. Yeah. I like purple. I like purple things. It'd be cool if the shirt itself was purple, but then you'd have to change the Captain Logan logo, or it would just say the show.
The blank show.
And we
It'd
can't
be cool
have
if the
that.
show glowed, if we had like batteries hooked up to it.
Oh man, that's
blinked.
we make an ugly Christmas sweater for the Captain Logan Show.
That would be amazing, and it would cost way too much money to make, because those things cost like $60 just to buy. If you get the nicer ones.
Well, we'd have to go all out, so you need the sound effect where it's like Bates Motel or something. It goes like bzz, bzz, bzz.
Yes, no one. We're the last two people on the earth that get that reference.
That
show has already been forgotten.
Well, I just mean any kind of like old hotel light, like the old school neon signs that make
Yeah, yeah.
noise whenever you're up close to them, and when they're like there's a bulb that's burning out, so like it blinks instead of staying there, or like old
I,
Waffle House signs.
I'm on board. Let's go into business together. Let's start a Waffle House too, while we're at it.
Why not? I saw one once where if you were with the letters that were no longer working anymore, it looked like it said the awful hose.
Oh yeah, being in design school, we went through all those bad sign designs where like the letters would be out and it would spell something obscene. Uh,
That's always great. Yeah, Vince's favorite. This is a thing I took a picture of years ago. I wish I still had the picture. I don't. But Vince still brings this up all the time. I took a picture of a sign when I was in Arkansas once that was I don't remember what it was, some fast food place, and for whatever reason, this fast food place was advertising chocolate cake, and with some of the letters missing, it spelled out "ocolate cack." That's phonetically, that's what it spelled, and ever since then, I've been like, you want some ocolate cag?
Chocolate cack. Oh, one more thing I'll say about this hat. It's actually a Punisher hat underneath.
Oh, cool. It's a reversible hat.
It's a reversible. I got it from I didn't get the Loot Crate, but I just bought it on eBay. It was from a Loot Crate. I bought it for my wife. This is my wife's hat.
So I'm sure that came out when those
Season
series
2.
were both on and popular, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You would have never seen a Daredevil Punisher reversible hat before
No.
Punisher spun out of that show, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, I think it was a season 2 tie-in.
Not that those are characters we've never put together before, but I think they're associated way more now than they ever used to be. So anyway, well, folks, thanks a bunch for being here if you're watching live. Thanks for listening after the fact if you're doing that. We're going to go ahead and get right on into our lead-in discussion for this evening. We're going to talk, like I said, about the Save Daredevil campaign. This is a thing that came to my attention a couple days ago, and I wanted to talk about it because I've been doing a whole bunch of video game streaming lately, DJ, because I got a capture card that works, and I've been really excited about it, so I can't stop streaming things. I think it's becoming an obsession. It's becoming a little bit of a problem. What I'm really doing is just playing video games again. I go in spurts, and I'm like, this will be related here in a second, I promise. And I'm like, well, you know, I could play video games because I feel like doing that, or I could stream them and get content. And like, look, it's right here. And I brought my PS4 all the way over here. I'm playing it at my desk anyway, so I might as well share. So
Press a button.
So I've been doing that, and I'm sorry, what?
No, I'm just saying, just press a button and you're making videos too.
Precisely, yeah. It's just, man, you can be so lazy and make this look halfway professional these days. It's fantastic.
Oh.
And so what, and at you know, really reasonable prices now too. I got a really good capture card for $90, and these things, there's still a lot on the market that are like $150, and it was exciting to find one that inexpensive that's as reliable as it is. But the reason I bring that up is because people keep popping into streams and treating them like the Captain Logan show, where they want to talk about the kinds of things that we talk about here. And one of the big things that came up the other day, and I did talk to these guys about this a little bit, but you know, there were 20 people on that stream, and only a couple hundred people have watched those, and so I figured we'd talk about it on the Captain Logan show proper, where people actually, you know, pop in and want and you know, like want to participate. But people want to talk about the Save Daredevil campaign, and a lot of people really wanting. I mean, I say a lot. There were 20 people in that stream, but the few people talking about it, really, it seemed like unanimously were really hoping that this would happen. And I am a lot less optimistic about it, I have to say. There's probably going to be a little bit of me losing friends this evening, by the way, because I'm going to be maybe a little bit less positive on some of this news than some other folks are. This and the Doc Ock thing both, let me just throw in a preamble so that you'll know what you're getting yourself into with this show. I don't feel great about. I'm not like ecstatic. I'm not like to the moon. And it's not like the Daredevil thing is like definitely happening and announced or whatever. But there's a couple of separate issues to talk about here, DJ. So is it likely to happen, and what would it look like if it did? Right? So. Let's talk about, is it likely to happen first? So again, big campaign, bunch of people signing petitions trying to get Disney to bring Daredevil back. We know from quotes that they made, and I'm sure, I don't know why this would have changed. Back when it was announced that those things were canceled, Disney put out a press release, and they said, don't worry, Daredevil will return in some form. they had clearly every intention of rebooting in some way, be it on TV, be it in a movie. Now that we're getting all these Disney Plus shows and we're doing Moon Knight and stuff, my assumption is we bring it back to TV again. I would be very, especially with the pandemic and everything with movie theaters being so up in the air, I'd be very surprised if the next announcement we hear about Daredevil is a $100 million movie. And so like I said, they clearly had every intention of doing something with this character. If they bring it back, and even if they, well, I say if they bring it back, it's coming back in some way. What people want is the return of exactly the show they had. I would be all for that, of course. I loved that show. I think the end of the 3rd season is a decent cap-off for that. They were smart in giving it sort of an ending, kind of by bringing it back full circle, but we know that those showrunners had a whole 4th season planned. I mean, they had already been writer's room planning it out. There was, I think, I can't remember if it was a picture, but there was talk about like a board that they had put together. Here's all of our plot points. Like they were rolling on it. They knew what they wanted to do. And if that show happened, obviously, you know, under Disney, I'd be ecstatic. That is not what you're going to get under Disney. I don't think. I really don't. So could it happen? Yeah, absolutely. Sure. They could bring Charlie Cox back because he's so popular, but they would bring him back as a slightly different version of that character, I think. And I don't want that. If it's going to be a PG-13 thing, if the violence and everything is going to be watered down, start over. Give it a different coat of paint, you know, make it a totally different thing. So that's my 2 cents. Is it likely to happen? I mean, I think it's plausible that they bring back that actor and maybe even more of that cast. Is it gonna be what we want? No, I don't think it will be. And if that's the case, then don't do it at all. Is what I think. What do you think, DJ?
Yeah, I don't want to see them come. I mean, he got 3 seasons of a show. That's pretty good. It's not like he got like gypped, like he got 1 movie or something. I don't know. I think he had a decent run. Let someone else have a try.
Well, I think people get it in their head that like this person was perfect, so they're the only person that should ever play it. You know, we had that with Constantine also, with Matt Ryan, and we've seen what's happened with that. I mean, he keeps coming back in different continuities, and some of the animation's been good, and I feel a little bit different with the animation thing. I feel like you can somebody can lend their voice and it can still be not exactly the thing it was before. Like I think that's kind of a separate issue, but we took that character and we put him in the Arrowverse, and so, you know, he's watered down for the Arrowverse. Like, I didn't really want to see that, and I haven't watched him on Legends, because that show was awful when I was watching it, and I've just never gone back to it. Somebody told me the other day that he is exactly the character that he was in his own TV show on Legends, and that's enough to make me almost want to watch it just so I can go, nuh-uh, because I don't believe that. Like, that's awesome if that's the case, but I've seen that show, and you cannot tell me it's turned around like that. I don't believe that. If that's the case. Awesome if it is, I don't believe you. And I may have to check it out, even though I don't want to watch that show. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to see that happen to Daredevil. And I think, do you agree with this? I think you can do a good PG-13 Daredevil. I just think it has to be a little bit more action-adventure oriented. Like,
absolutely, I wouldn't mind at all. That's fine with me. I think it could be just as good. Just a different thing. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Danny Davis says he was already watered down for network TV as is. Yeah, and I think as smartly as they could do it for network television. But, you know, everything is relative, right? Like, you know, big fans of that character probably looked at that and said, well, it's not my Constantine, you know, even if they liked it okay. And then, and of course, you had that with the movie, but that was even a very, very different thing. That TV show was much more the flavor of the comics than even that movie was. And then you move him over to, you know, kind of, you know, teeny bopper WB or CW, and it's a totally different thing. I mean, he's still playing the character the same way, but he doesn't have the same material to work with. I also had somebody in that stream, and I've heard this from other people too, say, well, if they are bringing back you know, Fox as not Mysterio, as Electro, why couldn't this happen? And I'm saying, no. It might. I just don't want it if they're not going to do exactly what it was. Like, and what would be even worse is if they said it was part of that show and in that continuity, and they still had to water it down. That would be way worse. The other thing is, more and more, and I guess we'll here in a little bit segue into the Doc Ock thing. The Electro thing is different because that is probably going to be the same Electro from that continuity, right? Like the more we're hearing, the more it looks like that has to be a crossover at this point.
Yeah.
So that's different situation than this. And if it isn't, I'm more terrified. Like, I don't want that.
No, like Cap and I were talking about this earlier. The problem with this is it completely takes us out of the movie. Like, you couldn't watch a new Daredevil and not think of the old Daredevil if the same guy is playing Daredevil. And like, if all of the Spider-Man villains are playing different versions of the same character, we don't think that that's what it is. We think it's a crossover thing. But like Cap said, if that was the case, that would be crazy like you would be thinking about the other roles that they played when they're playing the exact same. It's like the Ghost Rider thing.
Yeah.
Where it's the exact actor playing the same character.
Yeah. And that was awkward. But at least it wasn't in like a pre-established universe. Like that was.
Yeah, that would make it even worse.
A couple times. That was almost like a soft reboot, if you can call it that, where it's the same guy playing that character, and not a soft reboot in rebooting out of original continuity, but like we're some of the same people are involved, but we're just trying this again but different. Like, I didn't work last time, but the same guy wants to play this character, and if memory serves, it was some kind of rights thing where he was able to just make Ghost Rider move. I don't remember what the deal was with that, but like, well, let's try it again. We'll make it more grindhousey. That'll work.
Yeah, and I'm more okay with that because then it's just like, well, nobody cared about the first one, just try again. But when you're in the middle of a giant universe, that would just be so weird.
It's a little bit awkward to me. And if it ends up being great, I'm sure I can adjust to it. I mean, I don't want to be not open-minded. I just, for me, I don't know. Writing on the wall, I don't buy that is a good idea. But I love being proven wrong on these things. But yeah, I mean, but I'm telling you guys, I see zero chance of them bringing back that show exactly as it was. Even if they put it on Hulu or something, I think that would be very unlikely. Especially because, again, like are petitions enough for that kind of thing? I mean, I realize that had something to do with the Snyder Cut actually happening, but that's a new set of people coming into the thing with AT&T going, no, let's go ahead and put that out for our streaming service. Like, I feel like there would have to be like some massive change, something really different at Disney for them to go, now this is a good idea. Because like I said, they said it's going to come back in some form, and they made it, I can't remember the exact wording of that press release. It sounded pretty darn clear they were talking different thing. And I don't know why that would have changed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, you want to talk about the Doc Ock thing?
Yeah, I'll just lead into that with a super chat we got from Billy the Kid.
Thanks, man.
Which is just all caps. Oh my God, it's Alfred Molina.
Yeah, and I get that people are going to be stoked about this, and
thanks for the super chat.
And I have that kind of nostalgia for lots of other things. I can, not to say that I don't have any for the Spider-Man movies. It's just for me, that's done, and I never wanted to see it come back. I feel a little bit differently about the Tim Burton version of Batman. So I don't want to sound hypocritical when I talk about this. Excited is not even the right word with that. I'm more kind of intrigued by it because I love Michael Keaton. I want to see what he does with it. I don't even want to see. It's just when that happens, I'll be very intrigued to see what it looks like. That is a different situation, though, let me just say, because the DCEU is weird, and I'm not invested in it as a universe right now. I'm not invested in that Flash. I don't care what they do with that Flash. And that as a, cohesive universe has not been all that cohesive. So, it's weird, but I'm not no, don't do that, because maybe they can use that to soft reboot it into something better than what they've had. I don't know. With this, I am invested. I like this Spider-Man. I feel like we kind of wasted his second movie. As much as I liked it, we didn't get very far in his characterization. So I'm not excited about crossover material with that because I don't feel like we've done enough with this iteration of Spider-Man. I know I harp on this. We still don't even exactly know what his background is, and already we're going to do a multiversal crossover thing with the other Spider-Man, universes we've had on film. It seems all but confirmed that the other two Spider-Mans are coming back now. And maybe this will turn out not to be the case, and they're just having anybody that's played a villain before reprise them as totally different characters. Pretty sure that's not what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure this is going to be live-action Spider-Verse. If somebody has more information on this, like something that is like dead for sure confirmed beyond just these two villain character actors are coming back to play these villains, let me know, because people have sent me links to things that don't look for sure confirmed to me. It still looks like rumor territory, but on the end of likely, like pretty darn plausible. When you say Alfred Molina is coming back as Doc Ock, I have a real hard time buying it's a new version of that character. But there's precedent for this, I guess, with J. Jonah Jameson also. I mean, like, maybe they've decided that at least they're consistent. Maybe they've decided that when they do use characters that have been in the films already, the way they're gonna bypass having to, like, completely recreate them from the ground up and people not being sure about them is just use the actors that played them already, that people already like. So, like, if they have Green Goblin now, it's gonna be Dafoe. Like...
Dafoe, but then, with the amazing Harry as his son. What's his name? Chronicle Kid?
Yes, Dane DeHaan.
Yes, Dane DeHaan. We have two goblins, Dane DeHaan and Willem Dafoe.
Dope Channel says Kirsten Dunst is confirmed. I had not heard that yet. Noah says it's rumored that Garfield, Dunst, and Stone are coming back. Yeah, I just didn't know if any of that was, like, for sure definite yet. Because, like, these couple of villain actor pieces of news look very for sure and official, and none of the rest of it does yet. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. I think it's very likely that it is. Wouldn't it be so weird if that wasn't what it was? If it was just, if you've played one of these characters before, we're going to reinvent you.
Well, I wouldn't put it past Sony, because Sony likes, like, with the whole Disney debacle where they were, like, going back and forth playing Will They, Won't They, just to build up hype around the last Spider-Man movie, or this next Spider-Man movie. Like, I could totally see them saying, let's just bring back these actors, and then everyone will think it's a big Spider-Verse movie. We'll get all this press, and then they'll be in the seats, and they'll see our movie. Sounds like a Sony move.
It does, sure. And anything just super counterintuitive. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a Miles Morales movie, but we don't trust just that character, so we have to bring in, and we also don't just trust, like, killing off of Peter Parker in the first half an hour. So what we'll do is we'll make it a Spider-Verse movie and make it a multiversal thing from a bunch of universes that we're making up in the first place. And then when that wins an Oscar, I'm not sure if this is the reason, but they go, you know what we should do? That again! But with universes that did exist already in live action, and, we've already done this Spider-Man thing in Marvel 2 times, and if you count all of his appearances, it's more like 5 or 6. So you know what we'll do? We'll just we'll just make it like a Nostalgiaville thing, and we'll bring back everybody that's ever been in a Spider-Man movie, because, like, we're out of ideas, and what else could you possibly do with that Peter Parker? I don't know, everything? Everything.
He hasn't done anything.
I don't like this.
He's had one movie, and then he's been out of town for the second movie. Like,
we're not pushing him forward at all. It feels like we've gotten to issue 10 in Stan Lee. That's where we're at with Spider-Man. I don't like this. If he had a TV show, if they greenlit tomorrow, Disney Plus Spider-Man show with the same cast, and then this is also happening, I'm 50% more okay with it.
Well, and that's the thing. We were talking to bring it back to Daredevil. Like, we're upset that Daredevil only got 3 seasons. I feel like he has way more stories than the Spider-Man we have, and he hasn't even done anything yet.
Yeah.
Be more upset about that. Like, and this movie's probably not even gonna count for him. It's gonna be like a big reset at the end, or I don't know how much it's gonna. I don't know. It could affect his world, I guess, but I don't want it to,
It also
because
could look like just yet another interlude.
yeah,
So what
and
we
so we
get
get
for this Spider-Man is a movie that finally establishes his character and his world, and then event films, and then killing him and bringing him back like half of the Marvel universe, and then a a little fun, cute side story is really kind of the way I see that movie. I like it. Don't get me wrong, but we're not pushing his characterization, his character progression far enough. And then we'll have like a big fun rompy event film, not to do some more development and progression for this Peter Parker. Maybe they'll do some of that there, but more so to wrap up stories that I didn't care that much about seeing wrapped up, right? Like, amazing, yes, it is a kind of sad that we never got that third movie, just because that second one was building towards Sinister Six, and I don't hate that as much as a lot of people do. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's really bloated, of course, and really convoluted, but I didn't think it was broken. I didn't think it was unsalvageable. And it was weird to stop in the middle of something and not at least see how that, get to watch the train wreck, if nothing else. But I didn't care enough that I want to interrupt the new version to do that. If you could do both simultaneously, I'd be all for that. If Sony said, we're going to make a movie that wraps up the Amazing franchise while simultaneously doing MCU Spider-Man movies, I got no problem with that. But why do we have to mix them? And then I get that people have a lot of nostalgia for Tobey Maguire. I get for a lot of people that's their Spider-Man. It's not mine. I don't think those movies hold up nearly as well as some other folks do. I liked one. I loved two. Three, I think, is one of the worst superhero movies we've had. And I don't know that that was totally unsalvageable either. At least if you killed off Mary Jane in the first 3 minutes of the next one, that's what I would have wanted to see. And but not enough that I need to see more of it. Like, I'm good, So like, this doesn't excite me at all.
no, it turns
Really
me off.
doesn't.
It's
I hope
really
it's
making
good. Don't get me wrong. Maybe they can sort of
not
turn me around on it. It will be interesting. I will use that word if Tobey Maguire comes back and we actually see him play an older Spider. Will be interesting. I don't want that.
No, no. You said something during that beginning of that made me make a Popeye face because I was like grimacing. I, what if old Tobey Maguire is the Iron Man / Nick Fury for this one? Like the old father figure.
Oh no, I think that's exactly what they'll do. Of course that's what they'll do. Yeah. No, I feel that way
I don't
myself.
want to
Yeah.
see that. Oh, come on.
Now we're just degenerating into noises.
This just makes us This just makes us make guttural noises. Yeah, and I love Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield is my favorite Peter. I hope he says no. I don't want him to be dragged into this. But I don't know. They can throw money at him, I guess, and he might come back.
Yeah, which is going to be kind of strange if that ends up happening, given his, kind of volatile relationship with Sony, the way that whole thing ended.
Yeah, they fired him.
Yeah.
Like, it was not a good, healthy relationship.
Yeah, he didn't show up to an event, and they fired him.
That's crazy.
So, if you are stoked for this, I hope it's great for you. I also hope that the current iteration is front and center with that. I think the best we can hope for with this, if it's what it looks like, if it's the multiversal thing, and then I'll talk real briefly about just the multiversal thing in general. But if it's what it looks like, I think the best we can hope for is a Spider-Verse situation where he still has a real honest-to-God arc and he's right in front of it like Miles was. But I don't know how likely that is, given that there's going to be so much baggage with this. It's liable to exist in order to wrap up things from two other franchises while simultaneously trying to push forward its, the current MCU version. And I just don't know how much space there's going to be. Like, it's funny because people complain all the time when maybe not as much now as they used to, but when we'll get like a huge cast list for a superhero movie where it's like, oh my god, look how many characters are going to be in this. How are they possibly going to juggle it all? And after things like Civil War and then Infinity War and even Endgame, I look at a big cast list and I go, well, I have seen 50 superheroes on screen handled well now. So like there's precedent. There are some better examples in X-Men than others. We've done this okay in some things now. That doesn't freak me out, DJ, nearly as much as 3 continuities in a thing. That's much worse than 50 characters to me.
I mean, we're in agreement. I don't even know what I have to bring to the table at this point. It's just like that's gonna be so hard to make work, right? Like, how can that be good?
Even if it is good, even if it's fantastic, I don't see how we're gonna have a real compelling story for the MCU Spider-Man.
No,
and even if that's really compelling, I'm just concerned that we're not gonna get enough legwork done before the man is 25 or 30. I mean, the character.
He's gonna be a senior.
He's not doing that much in high school. The high school thing you gotta do on TV, man. I as happy as I was with that first movie, that's a thing that we should have Harry Pottered, man. We needed to pump out one of those every year to make that work. And again, I don't mean to be hypocritical. Very often when we try that kind of thing, it's rushed and awful. Also, Harry Potter was more like every year and a half or so. But like, that's a different thing, right? Like you're starting with a young guy playing him in the first place. People age, and so he's got to look right for the part, or you're going to have to just keep jumping ahead like we had to do in the other franchises.
Yeah, that was the whole thing, that he was cast younger. The other 2 started as seniors, not senior citizens, seniors in high school, and they quickly got out of high school. But then he was like, oh, he's going to be in 9th or 10th grade, and we can see every high school year. But then the second movie is just a road trip or like a overseas movie. Then this one's going to be completely have nothing to do with high school. Probably he's going to be a senior just like the other 2 by the time we get another movie. That's just him, or in college.
What I'm saying is, where is the great character drama for Spider-Man? And the tragedy and the Parker lock and all of that. Like, it's not. People I keep hearing naysayers with the MCU saying that he's not really Spider-Man. He's some other thing. Like, it almost shouldn't count. That whole like Iron Boy thing that people like to bring up. I'm going to almost start to agree with them if he doesn't have to start dealing with some like real heavy stuff. It's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and not for the Iron Man reason, but for character stuff, for internal conflict. There's not enough of it yet. I feel like I've seen 2 episodes of a TV show. I really feel like that second movie is like episode 2 as opposed to movie 2. You know what I mean? Like a second episode of a new TV show is very often just like giving you more of a sense of like the flavor of the thing as opposed to like, telling a great story. Nobody's favorite episode of any TV show is the second episode. And it feels like a second episode.
Well, and things happen to him. He just doesn't have any. He doesn't talk about him. Like, we'll talk about this when we do the Marvel Mania, because I've only seen that film once. But I feel like Far From Home was just more all about him grieving that Iron Man was gone, and not the fact that he went to space and died.
Yeah.
And was gone for 5 years.
Yeah. Which they kind of turned into a joke at the beginning, and it was funny, and I liked it maybe more than I should have. I don't know, but
yeah, like
deal with the after. Yeah, we can't deal with like. I was worried after Endgame we wouldn't deal with anything like enough of the aftermath of what the world actually looks like 5 years after the blip. And we're not gonna be able to in a movie that's also wrapping up 2 other franchises.
Yeah, everything's gonna. Let's move on.
yeah, because I'm just spinning my wheels at this point. I could keep complaining about this all day. Again, like with the other thing, I want to keep an open mind. I hope if this has to happen, it's really good. Real quick, I was going to mention the multiverse thing also. I think it's also hard to find this like fun and exciting and novel because we're now doing it with so much stuff. Like, I'm a broken record, but like it was really novel and exciting to see so many old TV and even movie versions of DC things show up in the CW universe with the Crisis, and then that ended up being awful. And maybe I would feel better about this if I wasn't already let down so much by that thing. And I know I'm crazy. Like, why would I expect that to be good? But I didn't expect it to be as bad as it. I mean, it was really bad, and like really bad. Like one of the worst things they've done. And
I only watched the Smallville clip, and I was like,
oh,
that's what they did.
I'm gonna just make noises like I'm gonna turn into Cthulhu or something.
Something else.
No, it's something else. Exactly. But yeah, so I mean, the novelty of this is kind of already wearing off on me, and if I see it done like really super well again, maybe I'll be reinvigorated to some degree. But like, it doesn't help that I was already really, really sick of multiverses in comics, and now that is one of the big things that is finally, you know, rearing its ugly head in comic-based material. So for general audiences that haven't read comics their whole lives like I have, this is a new idea, and it's an exciting prospect. And I get that, but I can't, you know, unsee what I've seen and like not have the experiences I've had. And so just for me personally, I can't get on the bandwagon with this. Like we're gonna do it with DCEU, and again, I think it makes a little bit more sense there because it's DC and they've got a long history of multiverse, and they need some kind of a soft reboot. And let me also say, one of the best things I've ever seen do something sort of like this is Days of Future Past, which is like fan fiction done really well. And I'm terrified I'm never going to see it done as well as that again. And that like told a really good story and didn't just lean on the crazy plot twists and the insane novelty of it. You never thought you'd see Stewart and McAvoy on screen together. And I'm really scared that that's all this that either of these will be. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope there's real stories there.
Yeah. I guess real quick to end that one. Yeah. I'm gonna skip ahead to a T-Edge1 super chat, $20. Thanks Tom.
What can we do you for, man?
He says he heard a really good hypothesis that it's not Spider-Verse per se, but part of a crossover event with Doctor Strange 2, Ant-Man 3, and Spider-Man when considering the rumor of Kang for Ant-Man and Doctor rumored for Spider-Man, you rock. Doctor Strange rumored for Spider-Man. So.
That's good. That's a really good point. Sure. And I had kind of forgotten about that. I mean, we've talked about this before. I figured it would be connected to Doctor Strange just because it has multiverse in the title. Boy, I hope that it's not just another really big event strung between a bunch of movies and they're not their own films. Like, we kind of, I'm getting exhausted with this stuff. Like, we kind of just did that, you know, like right away in your next phase. That I doubt very seriously if that's what it is, if it's like part 1 of 4 or whatever. But Tom, like, even if you're right about that, are they just going to be cameos then? Like, how's it not still very Spider-Verse-y if that's the movie? You know, like, even if it ties into Doctor Strange, even if Doctor Strange is there, you bring those guys in, and we're hearing rumors of a bunch of different characters from those, not just the Spider-Mans, but their villains and their girlfriends. Like, yeah. It's like they're not. It's not going to be just a like fun little connection to Doctor Strange. Like, even if you're right about that, it doesn't really change the nature of what it is that much, right?
But man, I forgot about Doctor Strange being in Spider-Man 3.
I did too.
Oh, that makes it even more.
That almost confirms
that
it
has
in
to be
mind.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna open up dimensions. Oh wow.
Now we've not talked about the Alfred Molina thing. Of course, that character's dead.
But it's an alternate universe. It can be from any time period. I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is, he was Doc Ock for about 9.5 minutes.
Yeah, so it was like 2 days.
If we go, we can just grab people from any time period we want to grab them from. Obviously Electro. Well, Electro died too, and that would actually be the same thing. He was also Electro for about 9.5 minutes. So what's going to happen is they're going to have to be, unless we say it's not really those universes, but it's sort of which would be so like convoluted and weird. If it really is those worlds, and we're bringing in villains who have died, then we would have to pull them out of their movies, and they've not had their endings. And they're just in the middle of whatever their villain plots were.
We're gonna do the Endgame thing where we go into the scene where they're at Times Square and Electro's fighting Spider-Man and they grab Electro and Spider-Man's like with the fireman's hat, like, what?
And then MCU Spider-Man is in there and he's like, why is there so much dubstep in this universe?
He lied to me. He's scaring me. That soundtrack. Please bring that soundtrack in.
Oh man, I think you're exactly right. Well, and here's the problem. Endgame made $16 billion dollars. And it, like, you know, broke a bunch of records, and the the big exciting fanboy thing for a lot of people with that movie, and I know a lot of people that didn't like this and thought it was too fan servicey, was, oh man, we got to go back to all these movies that we saw before and remake scenes, and isn't it cool that they were able to reconstruct a scene? I didn't think of that, DJ. That also could very likely be what they're doing, because it worked for Endgame. Why not do it with this?
And we just need to do a speculation video about that, because now I just want to spend the rest of the video making up scenes like when Ant-Man's hanging off the gargoyle and they just take Doc Ock out.
What, Ant-Man? Spider-Man?
Aunt May.
Oh, Aunt May. I thought you said Ant-Man.
No, yeah, we'll throw Ant-Man in there. Just do whatever you want.
What? Could be anything at this point. Wow. Oh, man. You see, I thought you were going to say you want to make a speculation video just so that you can do that chanting thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll actually learn the lyrics for that. I'll open the video with it.
I am going to say that this is kind of neither here nor there, and I don't know if that would be I think Doctor Strange would more likely be the place to do it, but I think if we're doing all this multiversal crossover stuff anyway, one of these movies is probably the place to introduce Deadpool, maybe like in an after credits or something, just to like get him in there and be like, yeah, see, he's in here now too, and then he can comment on how obnoxious it is that we're doing nothing but multiversal stuff. Like, I think that's even likely that he'll show up in one of those things, but I don't know.
Yeah. All right, you ready to move on? Got some super chats here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start tackling some questions, and we'll talk about the Nolan thing here in a little bit. If it comes up with somebody, we'll go ahead and tackle it, and if not, we'll just tack it on at the end of the show. I want to go ahead and start getting some questions. So,
yeah, sure. TH1, should Disney Plus make a... This is an interesting question. Should Disney Plus make a Plus shop for people who have Plus so that they can buy print-on-demand DVDs or some of their shows, such as The Mandalorian? You rock.
Thanks, man. I think they should just do limited run releases of that stuff and do the Disney Vault thing. I mean, I don't like the Disney Vault thing, but if it's Disney, that's probably how they do it. So at the very, very least, put out a limited run for those of us that really want that stuff. Make enough of it that we can get our hands on it. It's not hard to look at that industry right now and see how much or how few Blu-rays and DVDs and 4Ks, et cetera, actually sell, and just put out enough for the demand, and then let it be in print for a year or two or however long, and then if you don't want to keep making it, you don't have to keep making it. I just want that stuff to exist because I'm a collector in a format that I can buy it. I don't think Disney, even with the pandemic and stuff, I mean, I realize that all these companies are struggling and relatively and are hemorrhaging money and stuff. This is Disney we're talking about. I don't think Disney needs a print-on-demand service. Like, I feel like Disney, of all companies, could at least do a run of stuff. But I'd rather that than anything, Tom. Certainly. I mean, I get why you're saying print on demand. We've had a lot of obscure cartoon box sets and things like that come out that way. So yeah, and I think that's even the way. Now that I say Disney doesn't need that. Disney's done this.
Disney has this.
They have it now.
The Disney Movie Club. They release exclusive Blu-rays on there if you're signed up for that. I've wanted to do it, but I keep talking myself out of it. You have to buy, you sign up for the movie club, and you have to buy a certain amount each month of their movies. Maybe it's one or two, but you get access to movies that they don't release. Like a lot of the older, Three Caballeros, and their older Blu-ray that haven't made it to Blu-ray wide release, like Parent Trap, I think, is on there. They have a lot of Blu-rays that you won't see in stores, and you can only you find them on eBay marked up to $50-$60, but they're only in that club, and you get you get those sent to your house each month if you're signed up for that club.
Okay.
So they have exactly this. So I could totally see them making that.
The only Marvel thing I know of that they've done this with is Agent Carter.
Oh, okay.
I think they did that at one time, because that had a release for a minute, and then I think the first season actually got released, and maybe it was the second that was printed on demand. I could be wrong about this, but I thought that happened.
I have the first season, but I don't know about the second season.
And I don't.
So.
I don't actually have any of the Marvel TV shows on disc. So I don't know. It's just, I know that there's enough of a demand for that they could sell it if they just put it out. I know why they don't. Of course, they're afraid that people won't stay signed into their streaming service, sign up for their streaming service, and so they there's lots of people who want to see The Mandalorian that don't want to pay for streaming, or that just aren't used to that kind of thing, especially like older Star Wars fans. Like, there's people that still just don't do the I know younger people aren't gonna understand this, because we've been streaming like crazy, and that's kind of taken over TV for 8 years now, if you can believe that. But there's a lot of older people who still haven't gotten onto that bandwagon yet, and they're set in their ways. They're used to having things physically, and they don't trust it. They don't trust that if they don't buy it physically, they'll always have access to it. And they shouldn't trust that. So I mean, I pay for streaming for the convenience, and there are some things that I've not bought because I have access to them, because they're things that I don't know that I would go back and watch all that much. But I'm a collector. I like owning stuff as much as I like having it around in case I can see it again. Just because that's what I do. I'm a collector. It's fun to have them. And so I don't like that. I think it's a little sorry. I kind of wish, at the very least, they could go limited again, or limited with it. Like, split the middle, have your cake and eat it too. Be like Nintendo. I don't like this with Nintendo, but do a real short print one. Up your demand for it like crazy. Make people punch each other in the face in an aisle to get one. At least have them available for some period of time. And then you can still, get people to keep watching your streaming service. I'm not saying that's really what I want, but it's better than nothing. I don't know.
And I could absolutely see them doing that with, especially Mandalorian. I think they'll do that in some way.
A lot of people in the comments saying I'm a collector too. Yeah, I mean, I love Mando, and I don't like not being able to buy it. And also special features. Like, maybe Disney Plus will have some stuff with that show. I don't think they do already, but I mean, I want episode commentaries and stuff, and I know Favreau likes doing that stuff. His commentaries on the movies that he's done them for are really good, and I would like that for key episodes of Mandalorian. I would like some behind the scenes stuff, because the making of that show has to be fascinating. Creating that universe on a 10-week-a-year basis. It's got to be really interesting, and it sucks that we don't have more of that kind of stuff these days either.
But I don't know if discs are any more likely to have that than streaming these days, because I have the Daredevil season 1 Blu-ray, and it's literally
they got nothing.
The episodes, nothing else.
And there's so little known about the making of those shows.
Yeah,
it sucks. I am so used to nothing coming out from that stuff that I forget to look at special features when we have them. Like, I can't tell you the last time I bought a new Blu-ray set and sat down and actually watched the background material. I forget to do it now.
I've been doing it on my digital versions for the Marvel Manias when I've been rewatching them. When I can, some of them. But yeah, I don't usually.
I should do that. I've gotten lazy because I'm used to not having them. But I still buy discs based on it when they do have them. So, like, I'll be like, oh, the Blu-ray has special features, but the DVD doesn't, so I'll buy that. And then I never actually watch them.
Yeah, it's still incentive for some reason, even though you don't even look at it. We're set in our ways, man. We're human beings. That's how it goes.
Stussy says they have a documentary series for Mandalorian on Disney Plus. Well, good. I'll check that out. Good on them for having that. I mean, I do, like, if we can't have it on disc, at least they're giving us some special features. I do appreciate that. I still want commentaries, but I can't get everything I want. I don't mean to sound entitled. We should do commentaries for everything, I think. But I don't mean every episode of a show, but everything should have at least a couple commentaries, I think. But
yeah, I used to, when I was growing up, I used to love commentaries. I used to watch them all the time. I can't imagine growing up these days and not looking at behind the scenes stuff. That was such a big part of my childhood.
If there's and I don't do it for everything, but usually with Rewind, if there's a commentary for a movie, I'll listen to that even if I don't get around to looking at the rest of the special features, because it's so much information. I feel like I know a lot about how the movie was made, if the commentary is any good.
Next up, I see
Yes,
John Ty.
Professor Zoom is right. The Daredevil movie did have great special features. Both releases, actually. The director's cut also has fantastic features, and they both had commentaries. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
they
that's
both had
cool.
commentaries from that director.
Well, that makes sense too, because that was his version. He was probably really itching to talk about.
Mutali says I am entitled. Agreed? Okay. Anyway.
He's in the title of the show. John Ty, can we get to a point where we are getting Batman fatigue from the oversaturation of Batman in different movies that are coming out? We can.
Fatigue for... Yeah, I mean, I think you can get fatigue for anything. And the thing about the whole fatigue thing is, like, individuals, of course, can get tired of anything. And your threshold is going to be different depending on who you are. Franchise fatigue is a whole other ball of wax. If they stop making money, then it means nobody cares. If some of them make a lot of money but other ones don't, it can mean all kinds of different things. It can mean that people don't think that that was a quality project. It can mean that people aren't interested in the spin-off character as much as they are in this other thing. I've said this before. At the moment, I think it's hard to imagine franchise fatigue for Batman because we haven't had a whole lot of stuff lately with Batman. We've been doing a lot with his universe in all kinds of different things, but not the character himself. And I think, like, if you had... I'm always talking about how you can do Batman in so many different ways. If you had a bunch of Batman movies and shows and things all on at the same time, and they were all, like, really drastically different versions of that character, they would appeal to different audiences. Sure, you'd have people that would feel the need to see all of them, but they would also appeal to different audiences. And, I don't think you'd have franchise fatigue for Batman until he was his own shared universe and he himself was in a movie every year, and you know what I mean? Like, when people talk about the franchise fatigue thing with Star Wars, I am not convinced that has anything to do with Star Wars. I'm really not. And I know I'm probably off on my own on an island with this. When they said, we're going to put out a Star Wars movie every year, and people said, that's crazy, people will get tired of Star Wars, I said, well, they better be good. You know? And it's not the same thing as Marvel, where it's as, broad in all the different kinds of genres that it can tackle. It's gonna have a specific feel if it's done right, being Star Wars, even if it's a lot of different kinds of stories, of course. Much less so than Marvel. When we thought Daredevil was in the same continuity as the MCU, and it felt like it was, that had a more stylistic flavor, but it still fit okay with that. Star Wars is gonna have a more distinct, specific flavor. But I think you could have different kinds of Star Wars projects every year, and people wouldn't get tired of Star Wars, because we had a bazillion things in the EU, and Star Wars fans never got tired of it. And there were a lot of them, and it's a much... And I realize that that's niche compared to a big, broad audience, but you could have brought that to those movies, if only they didn't feel too, watered down and mainstream to people. They needed to, they themselves needed to appeal to slightly different kinds of audiences, even though they would all still feel very Star Wars. So I'm just using that as an example. Maybe there are things that just inherently you can't do too much of, or people are going to overall get tired of them. But I think if it's good, it's all relative, right? There are TV shows that have stayed on for 8 or 10 years that there is still an audience for. How is one Star Wars movie a year too much if it's good?
Yeah,
I
tend to agree with you. And plus, you got all different time periods you can jump around to, different stories.
Yeah, William Parcells says, and they weren't good except Rogue One. It was decent. I thought so too. And Solo was better than it had any right to be, but it still wasn't good. Or great anyway. I don't know. Still not what a lot of people wanted. I don't know. It's just if you had a bunch of different things to the storytelling caliber of the best things in the EU, and you put one of those out every year, I don't think you can tell me that it wouldn't work. They wouldn't all do $1 billion. Do they have to, though? Could we just be smarter about how much money we spend on things?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's move on unless you have anything else to add to that.
No, that was great. You answered a Batman question by talking about Star Wars
I,
perfectly.
I forgot what the question even was.
No, you nailed it.
Thanks, man.
Next one. 5590 ERS. Are Spider-Man and the X-Men still Marvel's most popular characters, or have the Avengers surpassed them in your opinion?
I love that question. I really do. Boy,
It feels like it,
yeah,
man.
it does. And yet, right? Like, here's my question. This is just one anecdotal piece.
Yeah.
If it had been actually Game of the Year material, how much better would that Avengers game have actually performed? It's a question. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
you have things that have legs inherently because of what they are at their core. Spider-Man is just universally fun in every kind of thing, and I'm not saying that Avengers game wouldn't have performed if it was a lot better. I don't know. I'm just saying that um, people all the time have over the years been like, I would love to be able to play as Spider-Man, swing around, and like we had games before that were okay, but I mean, like, to the caliber that we got on PS4 with like an Arkham or something. Um, and I don't know how much of that you had with something like Avengers. You know what I mean? Like, so the reason I bring that to video games is I'm thinking, like, do kids are growing up with stuff maybe a little bit different, but I'm just thinking, like, but I don't think the popularity of Spider-Man has waned with children. Like kids want to be Spider-Man. How much do they want to be like each of the individual Avengers? I just don't know.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
question.
you're right.
I guess I'm not sure. I'm spitballing here. I'm not sure. I think for that medium, absolutely. I think
Yeah,
for
that's what I was gonna say.
movies, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, you bring up great points. I was thinking, because I don't know why. I guess because I don't know why. I was just thinking of movies, which I think absolutely yes, they have definitely surpassed. But yeah, in general, that's a really good point. I mean, X-Men, I think in general probably. But yeah, you bring up a good point about Spider-Man
But I'll
because
say
X.
this too. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say X-Men hasn't had a show in a while. They haven't. I don't know.
X-Men has turned a little bit superfluous because we've gotten, or it feels that way at the moment. Um, like, good MCU movies could bring that all back around, but maybe because it's MCU more than anything, we have an entire generation of kids that barely grew up with X-Men.
Yeah.
And what X-Men they might have looked at was their parents' X-Men, because that franchise, regardless of the fact that it looks like it was retconned and soft rebooted about 600 times, was 20 years worth almost.
And it never went for kids. Like, that's the one thing that kind of stayed consistent about it, is it was always a little bit harder PG-13
Yeah,
than the other superhero
yeah,
movies.
and every time we did a cartoon show, it got a little rougher, a little bit more sophisticated and rough around the edges. Like, I said rough twice. I don't know that X-Men has been for kids in a really long time. So there's that, but I think general audiences. This is my actual answer to this question. Now that I've gotten there, general audiences, I think, have the attitude now with the movies, because the shared universe thing has been so successful that I had with Marvel growing up. People would ask me who's my favorite Marvel character. I guess I had to default to either Spider-Man or Daredevil, but my fandom was as follows. I was a Batman fan first. DC, I didn't really care about that much as a universe. And my favorite character in Marvel was the Marvel Universe. Like, I liked it as a world, and I think that's what general audiences have now. That's the like, I don't want to say secret to theirs. It's obvious. Like, that's the success of the MCU. People are fans of that. They might have their favorite characters, but if it's MCU, a lot of people are going to at least try it out. They like that world. So I don't even know how relevant a question it is at this point. With respect, you know what I mean? Like I think Spider-Man and X-Men, if or bringing back X-Men, I'd have to go look at the numbers with Spider-Man. But obviously interesting that Marvel felt like they needed Iron Man in that first one. It sure does feel
Hmm.
like he's a lot more popular at that
Yeah,
point.
even they thought that Spider-Man wasn't big enough to
Uh,
last on its own.
uh-huh. But all we got to do is do good X-Men in Marvel, and all of a sudden kids will care about that again. And it's entirely possible that you'll have another generation of kids that grow up and that's their favorite Marvel thing. So I don't know. That is a fantastic question.
Hold you in on that. Thanos Survivor number 21.
I think I just did one.
There you go. The compact minisode. Thanos Survivor number 21 asks, which love interest do you think is worse, MJ from Raimi's Spider-Man or Lana from Smallville?
Oh man, can I cop out and
Sophie's
say
choice.
they're the same character?
Written by the same
Written
people.
by the same people, at least in two. Yeah. Lana, because I had to see her on screen a lot more. But I think it's a tie.
Yeah.
My actual answer is probably Mary Jane, but I think it's a tie.
I think Lana at least has some charming moments. I don't know if there's anything from that MJ.
No, I just don't like her. Yeah, she's never taken. That's the thing, is that if this is maybe not fair to correct. I don't know. She's got an affect about her that I already don't like, but then the material she was given made it a lot worse. I found Kristen Kurik's performance kind of endearing in that pilot, and I thought she had real potential, and I think that actress could have. I'm not saying she's a great actress, but I think that if she had the right material to work with, she could have been a really fun love interest that I would have, appreciated more throughout that show. And I just don't know about that with Kurik. So.
You mean with Kristen?
Or sorry, Dunst with
Dunst.
Kristen Dunst.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, we got a Kristen and a Christian, and that's all I know. Yeah. And now I'm having that Deadpool thing from Deadpool 2. Like, which is it? How do you say the name?
Yeah, I follow you. I just want to make sure that they knew what you're talking about. Mr. Roboto, Fast and Furious 9 is going into a superhero film. Would you review commentary Fast 9? Also, DJ, will you join in this commentary? Wow, he has a plan for us.
Yeah, it sounds like you got it all mapped out, buddy. I don't. No, it's gonna depend on whether I think it really counts. Because you got the stupid every superhero movie ever made thing with Rewind. So yeah, if it counts someday when I'm 115, I'll have to do that. But. Yeah, and the commentaries I don't promise necessarily. I would like eventually, and let me say this real quick plug for what I'm doing with the podcast. I would eventually at this point really, I've always talked about doing this, but I really like to get to where, DJ, we have a commentary, whether it's a Mania or not, on every superhero movie I have done on Rewind. Even the weird obscure stuff. I am kicking around. I've had some requests for this since I started the new Rewind podcast archive. And new episodes are going up there as well. It's on Spotify, it's on Anchor, it's on a few other places if you don't know about this. The entire archive is up now, including the brand new episode. And you don't have to go to YouTube anymore to listen to that if you prefer to listen to them on the go. They're in pure audio form now, all of them. And so, sorry, I'm having X2 flashbacks. Kill the humans, all of them. And I've gotten some requests for doing that with commentaries. And I'm kicking around having a separate podcast that is all the commentaries we've done so far on superhero movies, and that would, DJ, entice me a lot more to make that complete. If I had that archive up as just the superhero ones, I think that could be really cool.
That would be fun. That would be an interesting ride. That'd be a lot of commentaries.
I guess I would just put them in the order that they were made.
Yeah, it'd be hard to line them up with the rewinds.
Because I think it'd be really funny to put them up out of order and just put them in the order that the rewinds were, no matter when they were made. But that sounds like a bad idea to me.
Yeah, we'd have to make them as you uploaded them.
Yeah, unless Anchor lets me change the order later, but I don't think I can do that.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, and I don't want to wait around until I have commentaries on all those. I mean, that's going to take forever. That would be a whole new project, and Lord knows I've got enough of those right now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So,
but hey, when we're done with Mania, we might be in the rhythm of doing commentaries every other week, and maybe we can just keep going. Who knows?
Oh yeah. Well, I've been kicking around after Mania, making that every other Tuesday just still podcast day, just whatever, podcast commentary day, just whatever commentary we decided to do, whether we're in Mania mode or not. Because those have been, pretty easy to work in, and I enjoy it, and I like to have commentaries on the channel. And twice a month sounds reasonable, but we'll keep talking about it. I'm not promising that. We're just planning things again on the show in front of everybody.
Yeah, tune in next Tuesday for our board meeting with Cap and DJ, where we.
I was gonna say we've had business meetings outside of this before, but
Yeah. John Ty, what if the internet never existed, and what would you be doing without it?
Probably working a regular person job. Is the first thing. I would still be writing. I'd be trying to get novels out. I'd probably be teaching. That's probably what I'd be doing, I imagine.
Professor Logan.
At my age. Yeah. What do you teach? Art. But as far as the more metaphysical question, rewrite history. What does the world look like without the internet? I don't think we have as much like universal PTSD in the culture. I don't think we have as many or at least the same kinds of mental health problems and stuff that we have. I think people would be more kind of socially literate and that kind of thing, and that would help us out a lot in at least in interacting with each other, certainly. But so a similar question, maybe by the same person, came up a couple weeks ago, and I said that if we didn't have the internet right now, I don't know how we would have gotten through the pandemic. So there's a big trade-off there. The technology is important.
Yeah. Sorry, I just started laughing because Oceanmon 13 just wrote essentially, and the chat blocked it. I have no idea why. Look, it's still there.
He didn't even say black essentially, or essentially black, or
I haven't approved it yet. It's still there.
Okay, that's new. I can't think of anything about that word that should have gotten it blocked by bots. That's fantastic. You can't put two S's together. It's oh that's man, amazing. That's fascinating. Anyway, no, I see why you got held up by that. Oceanmon just wrote an F-bomb. Well, you should have expected that to get blocked, Oceanmon. I'm not even going to show that.
Now everyone's just writing essentially, and it's still blocking it.
It's still blocking it! That's so weird! Okay, now what I want to know is if the video gets demonetized because we said essentially.
Essentially. It has a nice ring. You can say it like Excelsior.
Yeah. Oh, don't say that. That's also a swear word according to the bots. No, I'm kidding. Wow. Yeah, what other words that just tend to start sentences with a comma just block you?
Yeah, that's weird. Are they saying it as if it's like a curse or something?
Yeah, can I say potentially? Because
potentially.
Oh, that is bizarre.
Interesting. Anyway, we could talk about that forever.
Yeah, this is very strange. We should move on though.
All right. John Galisano says,
Hi.
Is there anything you will never review?
Ooh. There's things I want to never review, most assuredly. I don't want to say them out loud, though, because then somebody will try to request them. There was and I don't mean to not answer a question, but I am leaning on the side of doing it that way, DJ, because we had this with After Dark last week, where there was a movie that you and I did that we absolutely detested, and it was not a lot of fun to do a commentary over. And I'm just not picking those from now on. That was the worst. I spent the whole commentary just apologizing for that movie, and I won't name names, but somebody tried to request it, and I'm not watching that for a review. I don't want to do it. So yeah, the answer to that is yes, but I'm afraid if I say them out loud, people will try to.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you don't want to do that because then they'll all. Well, you can say no. You have the power to say no.
I do.
To any.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, but the pressure.
Oh yeah, that was funny. And we prefaced that commentary with like, this is not going to be like the other ones, but oh well.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't know. Thanks for the super chat. If you really insist, I'll say a couple. But if anybody tries to request them, I'm not gonna do it.
Don't
Somebody
do it, guys.
said, what was it Butale? Cap won't review Bumblebee. Yeah, no, not doing it. I'm not doing an analysis of that film, man. Like I've said my piece on it. I don't have anything else to say. I hate it. Deal with it. Sorry. Like if you like that movie, more power to you. I don't like it. That's just how I feel about it. I had that with some other stuff. The movie in question from last week was Wild Wild West. Not doing a dissection of that. I just no. And I don't really want to do it for the newer Star Wars films. I'm having to do it for the prequels, and years later that's sort of fun to do. But I don't know. I'm not saying for sure I'll never do that, but I kind of want to draw the line there. At the moment, I'm thinking I'm probably never going to review the 7, 8, and 9. I just don't want to. But yeah. Devontae Brown, really? Bumblebee was... Yeah, people like that movie. Sorry. I thought it was atrocious. I wanted to leave halfway through. And people got mad when I said that. Like, I'm just speaking my mind, man. It's just how I felt about it. Like... I don't have some hidden agenda here. Oh man, I hate everyone involved with Bumblebee. I better pretend like it's terrible, even though I loved it. No, I hate it. And I was excited about that movie. I thought it had a chance to really soft reboot, change that, turn that franchise around. I didn't think it did that. I also don't want to talk about this anymore. So let's move on, DJ.
I haven't seen it, so I get to remain in blissful
and you
ignorance.
Should too. I got PTSD about that. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, DJ.
That's okay. Blame Josh. He brought it up. Billy the Kid Lawrence. Jamie, the $10 super chat. Thanks, man. Jamie Foxx said Electro wouldn't be blue anymore. What if Electro isn't blue because he travels universes as energy and interacts with the singularity that is Doc Ock's orange fusion black hole of sorts?
Well, sure. I mean, we could make up all kinds of crazy things they could do with that plot. I think it's less likely to be blue because Jamie Foxx doesn't want to paint his face blue again. I think that's more likely.
Paint him orange, because of Doc's apparently orange fusion black hole of sorts.
But see, that makes me think that now I don't know what they're doing with this movie, right? Because if they change the look of it,
how is it the same? Yeah, how is it the same exact character?
And then that makes me go: is it possible then that they're kind of playing like different versions? Or are they going to have their cake and eat it too, and be like, it is them, but it's not them? Or we're going to soft reboot every one of those continuities. They happen sort of the way you remember them. That makes me think that unless he changes his color somehow. It's such a weird conversation. Unless Electro changes his blueness.
He just does the Dr. Manhattan thing and just like draws a circle on his head and then turns himself normal.
Unless they do something like that. That would mean that they won't do the thing that we were suggesting that somebody else came up with, or was it you, that maybe they'll like go back in and remake scenes you've seen already. It sounds like they won't do that unless this is a like thing that happens within the film. I don't know what they're making.
Someone just put the lyrics to the blue song.
Yeah, well, they can't use that now because they did that at the beginning of Iron Man 3 already.
Well, I want them to go back to Iron Man 3 when that song is playing and Electro's like running in the background of the party. I just want that so bad. But yeah, what'll Doc Ock look like? Doc Ock will look like the bodybuilder from the 90s show. They're gonna bulk Alfred Molina up. He's gonna come in with the green and orange armor.
I think he's gonna be even bulkier than that, and they're gonna mocap the whole thing, and he's gonna be this horrendous-looking CG creature.
He's like he's on Titan formula. He's just gonna be running around.
Where he's just—it's like really veiny Alfred Molina with like really awkward, CG mocap.
No, it's like they did in Ultimate.
Really awkward, Uncanny Valley.
With everyone else, where everyone just turned into the animal, he's just gonna be an octopus. He's gonna be an actual octopus running around.
And Electro's gonna be an actual Electron. You can't even see him. He's not blue because he's not in the movie. He's just voicing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's do this real quick. We should do just a speculation cast on this at some point. Let's think about doing that soon. I think, or should we wait until there's more announcements? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Maybe that's a thing we should do when I'm at your place.
Oh yeah.
That would be a good time to do it. But anyway, I'm sure we'll shoot some things while I'm there. I'm going to DJ soon. We'll try to shoot some stuff while I'm there. With all these announcements, who else comes back? I would think not Harry Osborn from the first trilogy.
Well, that's like a whole different thing because he had that whole.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying
he
that.
has it. Yeah, in Hollywood right now.
He kind of out to pasture at the moment?
At the moment, I don't know if he's going to make a comeback or whatever, but even I don't even think that would be smart anyway, because if you're going to pick a Harry Osborn, that's kind of a weird one. I mean, he's probably the better. Well, I wouldn't say better actor, but he's the more beloved of the two. But I don't know if he'd be a good Harry at this point. He's 35.
I was going to say I think they would want to do them both. You know, for the novelty of they're on screen together. You know what I mean? That whole thing.
Yeah, they see each other. Which one's which? Even though they look nothing like each other.
Wouldn't it be really funny if they had both Gwen Stacy's?
Oh goodness! Drag Bryce Dallas Howard out of
Dallas Howard. And then you know they'll do the hat trick is Bryce Dallas Howard reprises her Gwen Stacy role, is in the movie more than she was 3, because that's not hard, and directs it.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Well, because I don't know if you know this, but she's been directing episodes of Mandalorian, and she's great. Like they're really good. So, yeah, can I just go on record and say give her an MCU film, by the way? I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I saw her name on those. It's like, that can't be the same Bryce Dallas Howard, right? And then I thought, well, who else is likely to have exactly that name and be in that business?
Yeah, no, it just goes to show you how horrible Jurassic House is, that, like, everyone seems untalented in that movie, even though they're very talented people.
I mean, I don't think she's a great actress, but she clearly knows how to direct. She's competent at the very least.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know who
they could. Murphy, Willem Dafoe. I mean, I feel like you're missing a huge opportunity if you don't do that. That's the one I would want. Paul Giamatti, Thomas Hayden Church, Mr. Dickovich. A lot of people keep saying Dickovich. People really want that. The 3 Aunt Mays. I think one of them is passed away. Yeah.
I think.
Right.
Or is it the Uncle Ben that died?
Well, yeah, I think he's passed too.
Okay. I would love for Sally.
I'd heard that, but I could be
Sally
wrong.
Field. Sally Field's one of the best things about that universe.
I agree. She's great.
Okay, should she just come back and replace the Aunt May that we have?
Let's check in. How many more super chats do we have, sir?
Just two quick ones here.
Okay.
Oh, and one is about the thing that we wanted to talk about. So perfect.
Okay, let's do that. But hey, before we do that, let's do a pre-written or two, because I don't want to shaft those.
Sure. Let me jump up to the front. That one's about.
I don't know. When he says, "How are they alive?" I don't know.
Oh, this is an interesting one.
Oh, she's not
Daniel
passed according to Matali. Okay.
Okay, cool.
I
Daniel
apologize.
No, I love you thinking people are dead for like an extended period of time.
It keeps happening. Yeah, she's 93. Wow.
On Who Reviews the Reviewers, you thought somebody from The Murder She Wrote was dead, and man, I was like, no, she's not. She's still alive. You're like, I thought she was dead for about a decade now.
Why do you have to dig up all my skeletons?
I watched Who Reviews the Reviewers too many times, so those are always going to be in my head. Anyway, Daniel Davis, hey Cap, if there's any actor...
Stop announcing things is going to turn into stop bringing back all my foibles.
That's what you get for inviting a Geekvolution super fan onto Geekvolution.
Man, I don't know what I was thinking with that. You know me better than I know myself.
Daniel Davis, speaking of actors, hey Cap, if there's any actor who you might enjoy doing a marathon of, who might it be? For me, it would probably be Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah, that's great. I have been thinking about doing this with a number of people. People that I want to go through their catalog, not because I love their catalog, but because I like the actor and the things I've seen them in, and haven't seen a lot of their movies. So I have this with Brian Cox is one I've thought about doing. Stryker from X2, because I like him and everything I've seen him in, but I don't know his catalog. So that's definitely one. I'm trying to think who else. Well, this is of course, sadly not a huge catalog, but I was talking about doing it right after. I'm sorry, a lot of names still around tonight. Black Panther.
Oh
Right,
yeah.
right after he passed away, because he's got like 3 biopics I've not seen, and I've been in a biopic kick for the last few years. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one we talked about on the commentary.
Chadwick Boseman. But yeah, there's a couple. But I thought about this with all kinds of actors.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool question. Another pre-written from Blue Dragon 5. Maybe I shouldn't. Like, I'll ask it, but I don't know. Are we gonna do an actual Christmas show?
You mean on Christmas? No.
No, not on Christmas, but just like a Christmas theme show, like we did with Halloween.
We usually do. I mean, most years we have, and usually, at the very least, usually me and Eric and sometimes me and some other people will open presents on camera. But yeah, we'll probably do a show. Why?
Well, I'll ask this one anyway. Kellen O'Rourke says, "What are some of your least favorite Christmas movies?"
Oh. Well, Jingle All the Way. I was
No.
I hate that. I don't care what you say. I hate that movie. I can't deal with it.
You had to grow up with it. I understand. My wife hates it.
Well, she's right. I'm trying to think beyond that. I mean, I think there's more. Obviously, this goes without saying. This is probably true of everything. I mean, there's a lot more bad Christmas movies than good ones.
I have some doozies that people are gonna hate me for. Cannot stand Christmas Vacation at all.
I don't like those either.
Not my thing at all.
Yeah.
The humor just none of it hits me. And then another big one for me, Elf.
Oh,
I also can't stand everybody. I know every human being in the world loves Elf. I don't like it.
That's funny. So do you have a more extreme thing with Will Ferrell than even I do, where you just can't stand him in anything? Because that was the first time where I went, oh, he's okay. And then I saw Stranger Than Fiction and was like, oh, he's like an actor and he needs to stop being in screwball comedies because he's like an actor.
Yeah. My wife has that. Like, so I can't stand him just being a child the whole movie, but I know that's the point of it. That's what my wife said.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I don't like Will Ferrell's comedies, but I like him in this because it actually makes sense because but I still don't like that one. But I actually saw him in a movie recently where he was actually acting, and I was like, oh wow,
I've seen him in a few things that I like now. I like him a lot, and even some things where he's being, a goofy comedian. I like him. I mean, I like everybody in this, but I like him in the Producers remake. I think he's really good in that.
Yeah. So I need to see more things with him. I don't hate the man, but I can't deal with that grating comedy where it's like, isn't he stupid? Look at him running in the streets and taking gum off. I have
that too, but I don't know. Maybe it was Bob Newhart. Maybe it's just Bob Newhart.
Yeah, probably. And I don't hate it as much as I used to. Like in high school, I was like a crusader against that movie because everyone loved it. But I watch it every year with my wife now, so it's.
Oshimon says that's one steaming hot take.
Seriously, everyone's gonna crucify me for that.
Well, hey, I'll get crucified. I don't like A Christmas Story.
Oh, okay.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't want to get sad, but like
that's my review. That's my review.
I also had that with The Christmas Story. I never liked it. But my family would do the whole 24-hour on Thanksgiving, watch it every single year, and we would always go to my grandma's house, who lives way up in Pennsylvania, and now she passed away a couple years ago, and I don't really see that side of my family anymore. So I watched A Christmas Story for the first time in my life all the way through last year. And I had a little nostalgia for it, even though that was the first time I'd seen it.
Sure.
But yeah, growing up, I didn't like that movie at all. It's not a comedy that I like either. It's like that's something I don't like in movies where we're like, let's make it realistic. Everyone's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of I don't like that because I didn't grow up like that. That wasn't my experience.
It's weird comedy for children at the expense of children.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. It's like Matilda. That was like that. I'm like,
it's terrifying.
That's terrifying.
We should talk about Matilda sometime.
Yeah, or I'll just put a harpoon through my chest. That's cool.
No, well, I have a weird thing about Matilda. Something I hate in movies is where the opening narration is said by a character in the movie that wouldn't be saying that thing at all. It's just the most famous actor you have in that movie. So Danny DeVito is giving this very sweet narration at the beginning of that movie, and then he's a horrible person in the movie, and it makes no sense. I had that with the first Thor movie too. It doesn't make sense that Thor is narrating the beginning of that movie. Anyway.
No, it doesn't. That's a good point. Yeah, seriously. I need to sit down and watch It's a Wonderful Life again this year, because I had like a
Yes.
spiritual experience with that the first time I finally watched it. I talked about it on a video a couple years ago, on the old Omnibus, and I haven't seen it since, but I need to do that again, because that was one of those things that I had this with Casablanca too, where I just avoided it because it was like ubiquitous and everybody always talks about it, and I was like, I don't need to see that, you know, it's in the culture, I feel like I've seen it. And then I watched those both, Casablanca more recently, and I was like, okay, yeah, I should have grown up with this. I should have always been watching this. And I had the same thing with the original Miracle on 34th Street too. I should have always been watching that. It's great. And I got to see that for the first time on the big screen, which was awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, if we're gonna talk about favorite Christmas movies, I could throw out a bunch. Like, It's a Wonderful Life is my favorite Christmas movie, but it's like it might be my favorite movie. Like, it's in top.
Should probably be in my top 10, but I've not seen it enough to feel comfortable doing that. And I can't talk about it intelligently right now because I've not seen it much. But
yeah, we watch it every year, and we started watching. My son picked it up. Like, he went to we bring all the Christmas movies downstairs for Christmas, and he like picked it off the shelf and put it in. And like, I was like, he's not gonna want to watch this. It's like black and white. But we started watching it. We got like really far into it. Like, we gotta stop this, because we were so into it. We're like, we need to watch it. We didn't have time to watch it the whole thing. So we were like,
wait,
it's just
people
such
are telling us it was actually Odin narrating at the beginning of Thor.
Is it really? I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's Chris Hemsworth.
No, they're right. They're right about that. I don't know why I was with you on that, and why I also was remembering it that way, but no, they're right about that. Because don't you remember he's talking over like the whole he's like the Frost Giants, like that's definitely his voice.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh well, that was an aside. But thanks.
Yeah, because he's giving all that exposition. He's like and the 9 realms, and yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're dumb. It's fine. Let's move on, shall we?
All right, let's get. So yeah, back to the super chats. Billy the Kid asks,
25 people just left the show. No, I'm kidding.
It's okay. It's okay. I wasn't there for that part of Marvel Mania. Billy the Kid Lawrence.
I don't, though. I don't know what I was thinking. I just agree with everything DJ says.
Well, that's probably going to get you in trouble. Yeah, the Daredevil hat. The Daredevil beanie. How
Carl
about
Maxey? I'm sorry, I don't want to rain on your parade. I didn't care for Scrooged either. Like, I tried it. I didn't.
Oh, yeah, that's one.
I didn't get it. Yeah. But he says It's a Wonderful Life and Home Alone and Scrooge are his favorites. I mean, I still like Home Alone. It's got weird issues, but I still really like it.
But that score, man. That score is worth it.
Rohit Dahar. Cap, you're confusing Chris Hemsworth doing narration with a skeleton at the beginning of Ragnarok with Odin's narration in the first 2 movies.
Oh, gosh.
I don't think that's what I'm doing. I know he was, because he wasn't narrating. He was just talking to a dude, or to a skeleton dude.
Yeah.
Anyway.
How about he changes his? This is Billy the Kid. How about he changes his color the way I said it? LOL. Oh, getting sassy with us for not for not going with his plan. He doesn't like our Dr. Manhattan plan. He likes his changing the color plan. Well, maybe so. Maybe you'll be right, Billy the Kid.
Yeah, but what do you mean when you say, like, what if? Like, I don't know. Like, so then he would change color that way. Like all I meant with what I said was, yeah, that's a way of many, many ways they could do that. Like, I'm not good with, like, here's a wild fan theory, like, run with that. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and write a film. Like, what if they did that? Could be cool. Like, that's. I don't have an intelligent response. Like that sounds fine. I don't know. They could do that.
Yeah, that could work.
How about you answer my question?
How about you talk about what I wrote? But he's not too upset with us because he gives us another one here. $20 super chat.
Thanks,
also,
man.
I invested too much time with Daredevil, a show that had intent of being in MCU, for them to just change the continuity of it. # make Daredevil season 4. # Disney 18 plus. 18 plus.
Yeah, so maybe that's the same person that was saying that earlier, that they should have look, even if they do that, it's gonna be different people working on it. I would be really surprised, and I don't think that they'll ever do. I mean, because they're saying that, like, Deadpool is likely to still be rated R and all of that. Even if they make rated R movies, the flavors will be somewhat different. It's gonna be in-house people in charge of them. I really don't see them bringing back, even if they were okay with a rated R Daredevil show. I could be wrong. I hope I am. But are you with me on this, DJ? I don't see them bringing back the creators of that show.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, or could they? Like, they're probably all working on other things.
Are they working right now? Or yeah, and also here's another thing too. We should have talked about this earlier, because I just don't know. Do the rights reverting back mean that they have the rights to keep making what was made before? What I mean is, like, the rights to the character come back, but is it the same thing? I mean, I guess it is, isn't it? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Has that ever happened? Like, that's Netflix's show. Like, Netflix made that. It seems weird that they could just, like... I mean, I know it happens with, like, when CW bought Supergirl, they just kept making it. So maybe, but...
Right, but I don't know...
Netflix doesn't seem to be playing ball with them.
Print with that. Is that show going to leave Netflix and then they have to decide where they're going to put it because they have the rights to it? I don't think that's what's happening. I'm not sure.
Yeah. There's just so much we don't know.
But anyway, let me actually address the question, especially considering who asked it. Because he's going to come back with, hey, you didn't answer my question. Jokes are always funny when you explain them. So, I'm sorry, real quick, read the question again, because I want to make sure that I actually answer it.
He says he invested too much time with Daredevil, a show that had intent of being in the MCU, for them to just change the continuity of it.
So... It is awkward that we felt like we were watching a thing that was in that continuity. I personally don't feel like and by the way, that wasn't a question. I feel like I'm just messing with you. I don't feel like my time was wasted. And like I fall somewhere. I feel somewhere in between with the continuity thing. So DJ is always like, who cares about continuity if the story is good? It doesn't matter. I have that to a degree, but it's but I need like internal logic to make sense. So I don't have a problem going back to that show and going, it is in canon with the MCU, but the MCU is not in canon with it. Or vice versa. Strike that, reverse it. Does that make sense? So basically, like a branch went out. Like when 2012 happened, the Netflix branch kind of went out, and they're all related to that MCU. It's like MCU. 09 Star Trek. It branched off. It became its own thing. It rebooted out of original continuity. The only thing that really matters, there are references to things here and there. The only thing that really matters in Daredevil is that there was an alien attack on New York and superheroes exist. That's it. So it becomes a jumping off point. It becomes a inciting incident, or just background, really, before it's like very deeply intertwined into the rest of that continuity. So I get why you're saying that and why you feel that way. I'm just telling you why I don't really have that, especially because at a certain point I felt like even while we were still saying it was in continuity, it didn't feel like it anymore. I couldn't tell you what the timeline was. Like, it got to a point where I didn't know how much time had passed since the incident in 2012, right? It always, especially after a certain point, felt like it was kind of its own thing, and it just existed in a Marvel universe that more or less must have resembled the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He gives us another super chat. $5 super chat saying, "Stop crushing my hopes and dreams, Cap. You've done this since 2009 to me. You fiend. I love you."
I'm sorry, man. I'm a little bit of a realist. And like, obviously I can get really excited and fanboy about things too, but I have a real separate kind of mindset where it's like, this is what I really like to happen. This is what I'm pretty sure is going to happen. You know what I mean? Or like, I'm pretty sure this isn't going to happen. So, like, even if I was, like, understand, this doesn't come from what I want or don't want, you know? Like, even if I wanted, Charlie Cox to play Daredevil again, no matter what Disney did with it, I would still have the same response of what I think they're likely to do with it. But I would still say, like, I don't want them to bring him back because they're not going to make that show. If they do, then of course. But I don't think they will.
Yeah. And he's joking around. He says he loves you at the end of that super chat. Mr. Abato asks me, which Venom am I? Flash, Hardy, or Spider-Man 3? I think I don't know if he's asking which one I like the best, which would be Flash from he just says Flash. I'm guessing he means Amazing Flash, because that's the third one. I would like to see him be Venom eventually, like to do the
I
Age
guess
of
he
Venom.
just means Flash Thompson. It's weird. He gave you like an actor and
A movie
and a
and
character.
character. I'm assuming he means from the Amazing Universe, from the Tom Hardy Venom, and then from the
I don't know
Spider-Man
what
3.
Flash means though, because like Flash Thompson was Agent Venom in the comics.
Yeah, I assumed he was talking about each of the three the movie Venoms, but who knows? Maybe not.
But Flash hasn't been a Venom in the movies.
That's true. So I don't know what.
That's what I'm saying. Like those are not comparable things. The way he wrote that question, it's hilarious. But I think he's just being silly and saying you're wearing a Venom thing. Which one are you?
Yeah, I'm wearing a Venom hoodie with a zip up. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be the one from Spider-Man 3 because he's crazy.
Oh,
and I don't want...
you mean you don't want to pray for God to kill Peter Parker?
No, not yet. I'm not that pessimistic.
You may
crazy.
You know, after the crossover movie, if that happens, you may pray to God to kill all three of them. I mean, who knows?
I may feel that way.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
I really want the Agent Venom Flash thing, and I can't see that happening at all now. I mean, I certainly don't want the kid that's in the current movies to be that, because it would just be a totally different thing. Like, he's not gonna be in the that kid's like an intellectual and stuff. I'm not saying intellectuals can't go in the military. That guy's not gonna go in the military. I wouldn't think.
No, he's like a dorky, like that's his character. But yeah, I mean, of the Flashes we've had in the three movies universes, I would like the Amazing one. I could think you could eventually get him to a place where he could be Agent Venom, because he was interesting for even though he had like barely any screen time. T-Edge1 says, of course Uncle Ben is dead. He always dies. So he's not. I don't know what he was referencing. I guess when we were talking about how they're all dead for the multiverse.
Well, yeah. But I think if that actor was still around, because I think he has passed away, but I'm never right about people dying. I'm positive he's passed away. If he was still around, you know that we'd have a moment with Tobey Maguire in that movie where he's talking to him again in a blank white voice.
Oh my
gosh!
Because
we always have to do that.
All three of them are in the. You got Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland in the back of the car in the flashback with them.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing! But then
they're just
there's
sitting
no
in the
Uncle
back
Ben
like
for the current version.
Yeah, so they're all ganging up on that Uncle Ben.
It's Robert Downey in the back seat.
They're just in the back like Joey and Chandler on the ride along eating a sandwich.
Or trying to get Phoebe to go in and finally meet her dad, and she won't do it.
Yeah, exactly. What
Friends
are we
talk.
talking about? Yeah, Friends Talk.
That might be the video that gets 0 views.
There's not even any way we could remotely connect that to No, there is one Halloween episode where Joey dresses up as Superman. We could maybe do that episode.
Well, it's not like everything I do is connected to superheroes.
That's true. You break the rules.
But it's not a super... It was never a rule, dude! One of the first GNNs was about the Nintendo Wii!
That's true. With Drive-By Revolution.
No, that's a different video, but yes, that was also very early. No, I think the first, or one of the... I think the first GNN past the here's what we're doing for this show video was Vince and I talking about the state of the Nintendo Wii at that at that moment, yeah.
Yeah.
So if it was a rule, I broke it the first time.
Ah. Well, as the horrible saying goes, rules are made to be broken.
Except for the ones that aren't.
That's exactly the opposite. What is
Colossus. That's Colossus. That's the opposite of what they're for.
Yeah. Well, we just did Deadpool 2 last week, guys. It's still in my head.
It's in the back of my brain, yeah. What is next week? What is Tuesday?
Oh, Ant-Man and the
Wasp. Oh, I can't wait.
It's gonna be fun.
Hey, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We are having just an absolute blast with you. It's one of my favorite shows in a while. You guys are great.
Yeah, I don't know what's in the water tonight. I don't know what I'm drinking.
I don't know. I want more of it though. Pass over the shot glass. Okay, so
sun, palm of my hand.
That's water, and you know it.
It is.
It's a fanny pack, and you know it.
Don't worry, Cap. I will have vodka, cranberry juice, orange juice, and pineapple juice on the ready when you come.
I can't wait.
In
It's going to be
a couple
exciting. We're going to have a good time. Oh, I need to talk to you about that soon. Because my wife and I have been talking about days and stuff, so we need to get that straightened out.
Yeah, my wife and I actually have been too, and I meant to reach out to you yesterday, and I totally forgot.
Oh, you're going to tell me I can only come for like 36 hours.
No. We'll talk about it.
Cool. Awesome. All right.
Billy the Kid Lawrence has not had enough of you yet, sir. He comes back with a $5 super chat.
Thanks,
he says,
man. I really appreciate you, buddy.
We learned the key to getting super chats is just you have to make them mad, and they'll just
I
keep
need to antagonize everyone. Apparently.
He says,
no more Mr.
Though,
Nice Cap.
He says, seriously though, Cap, you opened my 15-year-old brain up 11 years ago to viewing things in a more mature and critical manner. You fiend. Thank you.
Internet hug.
So you're a positive. Yeah, look at that.
Internet hug. I'm glad you got something out of it, man.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, and I don't mean to crush anybody's hopes and dreams either. I realize it's difficult not to have. You know, when you see something one way and then somebody says something that makes sense to you and you're like, well, now I can't unsee it. You know what I mean? Like we've all had this. Eric's done this to me 1,000 times. You know, like I'm definitely more cynical about entertainment now because of Eric. But I also feel like I'm more realistic about things because of that too. So I mean, like there are people in my life that have opened my eyes to negative things that I'm glad they did, even though it kind of sucks. You know, you get. You kind of see the Matrix a little bit, and you're like, yeah, I'm glad I know this, but ignorance was kind of bliss. You know what I mean? Like trade-offs to everything.
The only super chat that I still see is about what we wanted to talk. Oh wait, sorry, one more just sneaked in. Maniac Madness 11 thoughts on Oscar Isaac being cast as Solid Snake.
So I guess we just forgot there's other actors. In Hollywood, because he just got Moon Knight, and then like a week and a half later, he was announced as that. The Moon Knight thing is happening, right? Was that talks, or is that a definite thing? Yeah, crazy. I wish Eric was here because he would have opinions about that. I've not talked to him about it. I have never played those, so I don't really have. I don't have a Metal Gear opinion. But. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know if he's right for that or not. I'm more interested in the fact that he's suddenly getting picked for everything.
Yeah, the guy is his agent is doing great. Like whoever his agent is needs to get some more representation. And the last one is the one we wanted to close with tonight. What
I'm
did
sorry.
Chris?
Can we go back to that for 1 second?
Sure. It's your show, man. Don't ask me.
Well, I just thought of this. Here's why it's fascinating that he got both of those roles. It sounds like, even one of them. There was a lot of fear, I'm sure, that some of those actors after Star Wars are going to have a hard time finding work now. And it's really interesting that he's not having that. Now, he already had a career before, and he was getting cast in other stuff. I mean, he was Apocalypse and stuff, right? Wasn't he Apocalypse? But,
oh, really? Wow.
I think so, yeah. Well, he disappeared because, obviously he did his CG. But so maybe it's just because his career was already in a particular trajectory. But it's going to be interesting to see if that happens with any of those other actors that they start. Because I haven't heard anything about, Daisy Ridley getting anything right away. Or John Boyega's doing something, isn't he? I can't remember.
Yeah, and it won't happen with Adam Driver because he was already a huge actor, and he's already done dramas after that. Yeah.
So they don't, at least some of them don't have to worry about the kind of Star Wars curse, like the Star Trek, and of course Harrison Ford didn't have that problem. So I mean, like even some of the original actors didn't have that. But
yeah, it's usually the big ones that are like found for Star Wars, like your Hayden Christensen.
Kind of had that. He was in stuff, but he wasn't a major star yet. Like he was in, one of the biggest things he did right before that was the short-lived revival of 24, where he replaced Jack Bauer and nobody cared. Because of course no one cared. Like it's just a random guy we don't know after, what 8 or 9 seasons of that show and a revival, and they didn't kill Jack Bauer at the end of that show like they should have. But then when they came back and did a second revival, they just replaced him and wrote him off off screen. Really? Okay. And those revivals are hilarious too, because they're still called 24, but they only get 12 episodes. So what they do is they still be in real time DJ, but they do like 11 hours or like 11 and a half hours, and then they would do a time jump to the end of the day, and then like the last half hour would be in real time.
That's so weird.
I know nobody's going to care about this, but this is fun for me to talk about. I still wish they had done the big screen movie that they talked about years ago. Did I ever tell you what they were going to do with that? It was going to be in real time, only in the last half hour. So it would be like a conventional movie, but then the last half hour, the clock would start. And then they do the rest of the movie in real time. And I thought that sounded awesome. I really wanted to see that.
That could be really, like, exciting in a movie theater.
That's what I thought. Like, here's the third act. The clock is ticking. Like, that's cool. And what I would have done with it is I would have put the clock at the bottom of the screen and had it go through the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, keep it on screen instead of occasionally bringing it back like they do in the show. I would have just kept it on screen. Because half an hour of that's cool.
Yeah, and do it like Birdman, where it never cuts. Just amp up the
Well, no, you can't
suspense.
do that if you're going to keep it in the 24 format. Like you'd still want it to feel like 24, because 24 always had like subplots going on in real time at the same time, and you'd want the comic panel split screen thing that they would do in that show, where it's like this is happening at the exact same time as this is happening at the same time as this is happening, but for half an hour. I mean, it's so cool they didn't do it. It sucks.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll bring him back in Spider-Man 3.
Oh my god. Yeah. That actor needs to be in an MCU movie.
All right. Well, I keep trying to get to the freaking Christopher Nolan thing that we're trying to get to, but Billy the Kid comes back again with another super chat.
Thanks,
we really appreciate it. I'm just messing with you. He says, "Let me put it this way.
Kiefer Sutherland. Sorry, go ahead.
There he is. I enjoyed my guilty pleasures a lot more back in the day. Then I discovered Eric's old channel and Geevolution, you fiends."
Okay, but can we give Eric 75% of that blame? Like,
I think so. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think.
And then he puts a heart emoji. So he's.
Sorry, I was talking about Kiefer Sutherland.
You're the best, man. Thanks for all your support.
Thanks.
Last one, real quick before someone else comes in. John Ty, what did Christopher Nolan say about HBO Max?
Oh, well, let's find out, shall we? What a segue.
Yeah.
What a spectacular segue. Let's find out, shall we? Let me see if I can screen share this.
He set us up perfectly.
So this is from BBC.com. Obviously, everybody reported on this. Let's see. Christopher Nolan criticizes Warner's streaming plans. Let me see where the actual quote is.
Ooh, I'm on the left side of the
Reacted
screen.
in disbelief. There's such controversy around it because they didn't tell anyone. In 2021, they've got some of the top filmmakers in the world. They've got some of the biggest stars in the world who worked for years, in some cases, on these projects very close to their hearts that are meant to be big screen experiences. We're talking about Warner's taking their... Oh, you're not on screen right now, sorry. They're talking about Warner's taking their slate to HBO Max. Why are you waving? Nobody can see that. Their slate to HBO Max at the same time as they're releasing in theaters. That's what he's responding to here. He added, they're meant to be out there for the widest possible audiences, and now they're being used as a loss leader. I used that term last week for the streaming service, for the fledgling streaming service, without any consultation, so there's a lot of controversy. It's very, 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 very messy, a real bait and switch. Yeah, it's sort of not how you treat filmmakers and stars and people who these guys have given a lot for these projects. They deserve to be consulted and spoken to about what was going to happen to their work. And then he also, in a separate interview, complained about HBO Max as the worst streaming service. And that's a direct quote. He said, it is the worst streaming service. Some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find out they were working for the worst streaming service. Warner Brothers had an incredible machine for getting a filmmaker's work out everywhere, both in theaters and in the home. What does he mean about in the home there? Like, what was their way before HBO Max that he's touting up as better? And they are dismantling it as we speak. They don't even understand what they're losing. Their decision makes no economic sense, and even the most casual Wall Street investor can see the difference between disruption and dysfunction. So a scathing commentary there from Nolan. What is your immediate reaction to that? I'm very mixed on this whole thing.
Well, he clearly has already a very negative view towards streaming in general, because if you think that people are going to be so upset that their movies aren't going to theater and they're going to streaming, like he's making it seem like, oh, it's already like a lesser class form of entertainment, right? Like if he seems to think that they're going to be so upset that they thought they were going to the big leagues with the movie theater, and now they're just going to stream.
People could see you. Did I have your box at the bottom?
Yeah,
he was there the whole time. Well, I feel like an idiot. All right, well. I just showed everybody my studio. There's some inside baseball for 2 seconds.
So yeah, I think he clearly has already a very negative view of streaming if he considers it so much lesser than the cinema.
It's important to note that the man has a vested interest in this.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly some of this is coming from an obvious and frankly understandable bias. Can I just say that? Now, Nolan comes from a very old school way of thinking about film. Like you said, the cinema. Somebody said I should read it in British accent. My British accent's terrible, so that's why I didn't do that. And also, I wouldn't do that. But, even if it was fantastic. But, so, I mean, he's got that clear bias. He still, I think, in his mind has a very massive, separation between film and television. Like, Nolan's not a TV guy. I mean, he's not done a lot of that kind of thing. And so in his head, movies can't perform like the big, meant to be seen in a theater kind of movie, blockbusters, that sort of thing, which is mostly what he makes. Can't perform as well on streaming no matter how the system changes. You cut out the middleman and you're never going to be in a place where you can do as well with that. But I think more of it for him has got to be, and I don't know, I don't want to psychoanalyze the man, but it seems to me like more of it is just a romanticization. That's not the way to say that. He's romanticizing the theater experience. And I understand that. I mean, he wants his movies to be seen in a theater, and he doesn't like that people are, or that's being taken away from filmmakers who also made their film intentionally to be shown in a movie theater. Now, the argument on the other side is, well, it's releasing simultaneous, so as long as theaters are open, people can see it that way if they want to.
Yeah, that's why I don't get. He's just mad about it because he knows what's going to happen. He knows it's a nail in the coffin for theaters.
That's what it sounds like to me, and I see this from both sides, man. Like, he is absolutely right that this has everything to do with their service, or at least a lot to do with the streaming service. They're trying to count on that because they don't know if theaters are going to be viable in the future, like we talked about on a lot of shows lately. Of course they're nervous. Of course they're not trusting that is going to be in the future, in the immediate future especially, the primary way that you can, make your money with movies. And I get why they're looking at those films as loss leaders. I also get why some people said that they jumped the gun and they shouldn't have announced the entire slate for the entire year. Like, they could have just said, these next few movies we're definitely going to put out that way, and then we're going to wait and see if people are willing to go back to theaters once there's a vaccine readily available. Like, how soon after that happens are more people willing to sit in a room altogether? I would argue it's going to take longer than they think it will. And as I've argued before, I also think that there's no telling for sure how many people even still want to primarily see movies in theaters. But what I find curious about the way he put this, DJ, because like I said, I'm mixed on it. I see some of his points, but the thing that I think is weirdest about the way he put that is it almost sounds like he thinks everybody sees movies the way they're intended to be in theaters. Yeah, that's not true. The majority of people don't go to the movie theater, right?
Yeah, people see his movies on TVs that are tiny, little TVs. And I'd like to point out this super chat that just came in. TH1 said Nolan is the same guy who allowed his films to be streamed in Fortnite.
Oh,
I don't know about you, but that sounds like a double standard.
They streamed at the same time as they were in a theater?
No. But
Or
you could
just
watch.
later
He's
on.
he's saying he's making the same point as you. Is like people don't always see them when they first come out. They watched it in Fortnite, or
I
they
don't
can
know if
watch
that
it.
makes that doesn't make that a hypocritical statement in my mind, because it's not like he's refused to let his films be released on video. It's just
Yeah.
the way he's putting that. He's like, you're ruining it for everyone. You're making it to where, well, at least at the moment they can go to the theater if they want to. The big question, of course, and I can't answer this, is how much faster does this kill the theater chains that try to stay open than they would have died if we didn't do this? I don't know the answer to that. But the thing is, boy, it's all so complicated. The main thing I agree with what he said is that it's super messy. I'm not going to say very 4 times again, but it's messy, and he's right about that. It's complicated. I don't know if I agree with him on people should have been consulted about how their movies were distributed. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Like who? Like just the directors? He just said he's so vague about it. Like everyone?
And if they were consulted, if certain people said we don't want it done that way, would you cherry pick like? That's just not how distribution works. I don't know.
Yeah, what does he want them to do? Like they're hemorrhaging money. Like they have to release them in some form. Like I mean, he should be happy that they're doing it simultaneously, right?
Yeah,
like
he's
you
talking
can still
about it
choose
as
the
if they're going straight to streaming with no theatrical release. I don't
like they didn't have to do that. A lot of theaters are releasing things straight to streaming. Like they're actually doing it the right way.
But I do. I want to give the man credit. And I also want to say I'm not there. You know what I mean? I always bring this up. Like
Yeah.
I'm not behind closed doors. I don't know what working in that industry is actually like. He is saying that a lot of people are very upset about this, and it's really stirring up the pot, and I believe that. And I think he might be worried that that's going to do more damage than anything. There's already talk about boycotts and all kinds of things. So, like who knows what this is going to do? But it's a lot of people trying to hold on to what a lot of people already thought was an outmoded system. As I've said before, we're kind of just moving along something that was inevitable in the first place, that's kind of naturally having to happen because of lack of demand for a product being put in a certain place. But what I was going to say is, last point on this, I also understand what he's saying about the streaming service. Now, I don't think HBO is the worst streaming service. I don't know.
Has he seen CW?
I don't know that he would have said that if this hadn't happened. That sounds very much like, I hate your service because I don't like what you're doing with movies. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think they have an okay catalog. I'm not real impressed with their original stuff yet, but they're new and nobody's been able to make anything for a while all that much. So, like, I don't know what he's on about there.
No, it's clearly not. Unless he's
okay for me. I don't know. Like, is he using it? And again, I don't know what he was talking about with distribution before that. Where he's like, oh, they had a great thing going even for demand before, and now they have this thing. I'm like, what is he talking about? Can somebody tell me what he's talking about? Because I might be ignorant on some of this. Like, I feel like if I had him in the room here in 10 minutes, he could explain it to me. And I'd be like, okay, I see your point. I don't know if I agree with you, but I see your point. But just from what I'm reading here, some of this is not fully adding up to me. I'm not quite understanding what he's getting at. But what I do understand is his frustration that if it weren't for this streaming service that they're putting all their eggs in, that has not been performing the way they want it to, they would be giving theaters more of a chance to stay open. And I get why he would be frustrated about that. Having said that, I also get why. You see, this is back and forth. I'm playing a tennis match with these entities. The other side of that is, if you're Warner Brothers, do you just trust that everything eventually is going to be okay while you're hemorrhaging money? Like, it's already a loss leader, and like I said, I used that term the other day. He said that, obviously I agree with that's the reason they're doing it. How much more money are they going to make if they put it in cinemas than on? I honestly don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, it seems like he kind of wants to force people to have to see it in the theater instead of giving them the option to do whichever one they want. Isn't that the better thing? Some people can't afford going to the theater.
I think so. And so, do you agree with me? Some of this is romanticizing.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of the older Hollywood people have that. He's even a younger guy, but yeah.
Rohit the Heart, Nolan is probably referencing HBO Go and HBO Now in regards to delivering in home before HBO Max was a thing. Okay, maybe, but like, how many movies did they stream there like shortly after they first came out? Was that a thing they were doing? Like, I just don't know that. Because
Yeah,
I
I just
thought
don't
I
know.
thought that was strictly things that go on HBO. But then okay, but it's home box office, so I guess they must have, right? Like,
Maybe. I just don't know if that was happening. I wasn't a big HBO guy until very recently.
yeah, I have no idea how many of Warner's films were coming out, like clockwork around when DVDs and Blu-rays came out. Because if that were the case, he's got a point. Maybe Blue Dragon 5, Cap HBO Max is still. I don't know what he's saying. HBO Max still, since the launch, isn't available to people with Xfinity, as in the cell of anyone who has HBO can use Max through cable box can't. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure if that's what he's talking about. Like access. I mean, it's also not available worldwide either. Devontae Brown says not really, Cap. You're talking about with movies the way they were put. Yeah. Clark Kent's Rock and Roll Review. He doesn't care about the crisis affecting people. Shame, and part of the reason why I hope he has a close pal that actually levels with him. Yeah, and again, I don't want to psychoanalyze the man. Like it might be an out of touch thing. Um,
Yeah, I mean, he is
he's
a rich Hollywood director. You might not be thinking about people who can't go to the movie theater.
yeah, absolutely. Mutale James Gunn also doesn't like this, but if I'm a big Hollywood director, I'm not going to like this either. But I think I would, to some degree, understand, be able to put myself in the shoes of the companies that are worried that they're not going to continue to exist if they keep trying to go with the same old system. We were already having to adjust a lot.
Yeah, you have to
let's not
adapt.
pretend like things weren't changing.
Yeah.
You know,
You can't just
we
stick
were
to your
seeing
guns and hope for the best.
we were already seeing a huge uptick in things that were dropping simultaneous with theaters and streaming services. Let's not pretend like 10 years from now wasn't already going to look very different from how it looks now. It had to.
Yeah.
Okay, we are at 2 hours. We should wrap things up. Do we have any more super chats, Mr. DJ?
No, we are clean. We're good to go. The last one was from
good.
TH1.
You also took a shower. That's good to know.
I did. And then I got this Venom symbiote on me and just messed everything up.
Bob the Hun says saying he doesn't care is completely based on nothing. Yeah, I don't want to argue with folks. I wouldn't go that far myself either. Okay, well, guys, thanks a bunch for watching. Sure appreciate it. We could have spent some more time on that, I suppose, but we should go ahead and wrap up. I hope you had a good time. We certainly did. Like I said, this is my favorite show in a long time, and I'm getting hoarse now. I think I've been talking too loud. Let's read this last super chat. Once again for Billy the Kid Lawrence. Thanks, man. Another $5 super chat. Respect, guys. Gonna head off here now. We also are doing that. There's a bag of chips calling my name. They look lonely. Yes, lonely chips. That's an inside channel thing. Have a good night, you fiends.
I like that. Can you guys start calling us fiends all the time?
What do you mean I messed up with John Boyega with 24? Was that not John Boyega? I thought that was John Boyega.
Oh, we were almost out, and they called us out.
Well, no, but I got to make sure. Was it somebody else? Was it not John Boyega? I thought for sure that's who that was. I'm glad I have a chance to correct this before the stream is over. Look, I mess up. I mess up all the time.
Yeah, Blue Dragon 5 says wrong again, DJ. What are you talking about, man? I didn't do it. I don't even know what he was talking about. Dragging me down with them. Oh, he might have been talking about a super chat just popping in at the last second. That's probably what he was talking about.
There was another super chat. Yeah, he was in that miniseries. Unless he was not the main and was some other character.
That might have been what it is.
But I was pretty sure that he was the main guy in that. What am I wrong about?
They're saying he was
another day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's what I was talking about.
Are there multiple 24 reboots?
Well, yeah, and I think that was the last one. That's what I was talking about. Was that not the last one? What am I wrong about here? I'm very confused.
I don't know, but
because it was a miniseries. It was a revival, but it was him without like what am I missing here? Whatever. Anyway, did you find the super chat we missed?
No, I didn't miss it. It was the one that you read about Billy the Kid.
Are we sure?
Yeah, Blue Dragon 5.
Oh, okay. Sweet. Well, anyway,
It was
we're gonna get going now. Thanks as always for watching, everybody. I will be back. Let me say this real quick on Thursday for another regular Captain Logan show. It'll be an Ask Me Anything show. I'm gonna have a guest that night. My buddy Nick Stevens from the Genesis Gems. We a couple weeks ago had that's a podcast about Sega Genesis games. Nick knows about all kinds of other stuff. He does know some comic stuff as well. He's going to come in and chat with me. I have had Aaron on a few times, the other half of Genesis Gems. He was here a couple weeks ago. Thursday, I'm going to have Nick. DJ is going to be out of town. He's taking a trip to New Orleans, which I'm jealous of because it's one of my favorite places on the planet. And so I'm going to be working solo that night. Luckily, I don't think I'm gonna bring in a guest moderator. I think I'm just gonna mod myself that night since I'm gonna have a guest. But nobody panic because we have this set up so much nicer now that I'll have a tab for super chats and almost certainly won't miss any. I hate saying that because watch me miss one. I don't think I will though. It's gonna be a lot easier to see them than it has before. So pop in for that, won't you? It'll be a different kind of show, and I'm sure we'll have a really good time. And please come in and help Nick feel welcome. I think you're gonna have a good time with him. He's a really great guy. We'll talk about Venom and stuff. But anyway. Thanks so much once again for being here. I was Captain Logan. That was DJ of the Martini.